Hey everyone, the Motivational Professor here, and welcome to today's video on crude oil. So you've heard me talking about it over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of pressure to bring the price of crude oil back up. We're seeing cuts across every region because, again, they want price to go higher. So we're going to start here on the weekly time frame, and I'm going to tell you right now that we are going to hit this 50-day moving average on the weekly time frame. So we're talking about $78 to $79 a barrel. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to start walking it down, and I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to give you zones, and I'm going to give you locations where you could possibly enter, even depending on your bias, whether you're going to be a buyer or whether you think you might be a seller. So stay with me on this video, and I'm going to guide you every step of the way as we have for all videos. So again, we can clearly see here that we have a lot of traffic, okay, that's going to be coming up into this area up here. We can see that on the weekly. Okay, again, I believe that we are going to continue bullish. Of course, not that we're going to have some drops, but I believe price is going to go very close to $80 a barrel within the next week or so. So let's now drop down to the daily so we can kind of see what the daily is showing us. Okay, we are clearly above the 50-day moving average. We've had 4 days of price going up. So we kind of came off of this 50-day moving average when it comes to this wick right here. And now we have seen price continue to go up. But again, let me caution you that right now we are looking at, some form of resistance right up in this area. Right in here, I would say. So, we're at this point here where if we do have a gap, right, we may see a little bit of resistance there moving forward. If we go over to the left, we can see it over here as well. So we are coming into a little bit of traffic right where price closed with regards to crude oil. Okay. So as we look at this on the daily time frame, we're going to walk it down a couple of different time frames, but I believe, and I want to mark this here, I'm even going to go out and say oil will hit here. I believe that based on everything that I'm reading, we are going to see oil come back up to this price. Okay. And if I were to, let's move this back down here. Okay. If I were to throw a Fibonacci level from here all the way down to this wick, okay, right in here, right? Look how nicely that puts that zone as well, right between that 61.8 and the 78.6. But again, we are kind of sitting at this 50% mark, so we could see some form of minor rejection, okay? But again, I believe we're going to continue to go higher, but I'm going to go ahead and break this down now on the 8-hour time frame. So you can kind of take a look here on the 8-hour time frame a little bit better, right? We can definitely see, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this for those of you that are maybe newer to this, right? We can definitely see how this area right here is kind of acting as both support and both resistance, right? So we are at a crucial point right now as we look at where oil is on what is going to happen with crude oil. We are either going to see a rejection like we did right here, or we are going to wait and be patient for a break and retest of this area. Okay. If we do reject it, then the next buying point for me would be down in this 50-day moving average, right? I love when price comes right back down towards that 50-day moving average. So I would be looking to, and I'm going to change that color to this aqua, right? If this rejects it and comes back down, then I'm going to be looking back at about $70 a barrel or so to pick up another buying opportunity. So now that we are in the 8-hour, let's kind of leave that marked up and let's drop down to the 4-hour, because I want you to see this from the multiple time frames, right? There again, even on the 4-hour, we can see how this is a strong zone for crude oil, right? We're just at that, we're about to hit 70. Did we hit 74? No, we came just shy of hitting $74 a barrel on Friday. So now that we are here, right, we kind of saw at the end of the day that we had a little rejection, right? It's going to be up to you and your play. So on the 4 hour, right, if price does not gap open, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, right, is this going to give us a sell back down into this area? That's the first question. So let me go ahead and remove that. Let's remove that. Okay, perfect. So this is kind of, option number one, right? Is this going to give us a rejection on a smaller time frame and then bring price back down towards the 50-day moving average? Again, we already talked about how this here, for me, somewhere around this 50-day moving average is going to be a buy spot if by whatever reason we do come back down towards the 50. Because what's probably going to happen is that as we see now this 50-day moving average curling up, it is probably going to do something like this. Price comes down, hits off that 50, and then we bounce, back up possibly. Okay, so that's kind of option one, and this is for people that are looking option one if you are a seller. Option one sellers. Okay, to look at that rejection and then bringing it back down towards the 50 would be your next goal. Okay, for us buyers, if we're waiting for a buying opportunity, then I need to see price close above, come back down, kind of retest this area, and then continue to go back up, right? I'm not buying from price where it's currently at, okay? So I want to see this scenario right here. So this is why I love doing these videos, because at the same time that I'm charting, you can see examples. So this is what we are looking for in this buy scenario right here. We're looking for that, and I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to get rid of this line right here, right? We're looking for that to possibly happen over here, and I'm going to extend this out here in just a minute, okay? So we're seeing if we get that break and retest, right, are we going to get that same scenario right over here? Where price came above, you can see this wick right here retested, and then we went back up towards this price point that I think we're going to hit. So this right here is going to be option two buyers. Okay, option two buyers, you have to be patient. Okay, if price takes off for whatever reason, and I'm going to be giving you gap situations in just a minute, and you don't get the trade, you don't get the trade. For me, I need to see this. I need to see price go above and break back down and retest this area on a smaller time frame, and we'll look at that in just a minute. So we've got buyers, we've got seller opportunities, and now we have to wait for the gap and see what's going to happen. Are we going to have a gap on Sunday, right? Will the price gap up here? And let's make this green to stay consistent, right? So if we have an up gap, what's usually going to happen is that price may go up and then eventually come back down to close the gap, right? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. If we gap down in here somewhere, let's put it, we have a lot of traffic here. Let's just say right here, if price gaps down, let's make this red to stay consistent, okay? Then we typically see this. Price comes down, hits a spot, but it's got to come back up to close the gap. So since we are here, because I want you to keep this, and again, if you're kind of newer or you've never charted this way, pause this video, okay, and this is the gap price on Friday, and just copy my chart. Okay, I'm giving you everything you need. This is going to be our gap price right here because that's where price closed. So we would have to close that gap if price if price either opens on Sunday above or opens below, we have to ultimately come back up to that gap price. Okay, so again, don't over leverage. If you've never traded the gap, it's an opportunity to make a little extra money, but you cannot over leverage. Gaps usually close within 24 hours, but that's not always the case. You may need to wait a day or two, sometimes a week, for a gap to close. Okay, from what I've gone back and I've looked at all my charts, crude oil, over 90% of the time within 24 hours the gaps have closed. Okay, sometimes it's quick, couple seconds, couple minutes when the market opens, or it can linger into the London session as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So we have a buy spot down here if we come back down towards the 50-day moving average. We have a selling opportunity if we see price reject on a smaller time frame. And what I mean by that smaller time frame is we would jump back into a, like this, right? We would jump into a 5-minute time frame. And let me get rid of this. And then if we see that price is rejecting, so here you can see, right? We can see here on a 5-minute time frame that as of right now, when the market closed, right, we went into a little consolidation. We've rejected this area, but we're still above the 50-day moving average, right? So now, if we get multiple candles to close below the 50, then that would be a good sell opportunity for you to take maybe something like this with a very tight stop loss. Let's say you do something like this, a short position somewhere in here somewhere, right? This would be your stop loss up here, but your goal is that you're taking it back down to about here, as we talked about. Okay, that would be kind of a short position because you can see here, that's where we have a key level on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so something like that would be your scenario if you want to be a seller in this scenario right here. Okay, and inadvertently, if you are looking to buy and we get that break and that retest, then you're looking at something like this, right? We talked about where I believe price is going to go a little bit higher. Your scenario would be something like this. Once we get that break and retest, let's say it comes back down and retests here, then you'd probably want to go somewhere to about right here. And again, our target would be up in this area. So that's what you're looking for if you're looking to buy off the break and the retest if price does go back above. So I kind of want to go back to this 4-hour time frame, and I want to kind of recap what we have here. And again, if you need to pause this video, right, pause the video, take a screenshot of this, right? That's kind of the scenarios that we are looking at when it comes to crude oil starting the week, depending on what happens with the gap. Okay, if you got some value from this video, do me a favor, just hit the like button. I would appreciate it. This is going to be in multiple languages, so you can definitely, hopefully you took advantage of the closed captioning below as well. If you're brand new, subscribe, check it out. I'm just giving you pure value. I'm not sending you off to a landing page or any other program. Just come here, learn something, learn one thing a day, and you'll become a better trader. I've got some videos coming out on 2 or 3 important things that you need to do if you want to be successful with this. Not for 1 week or 1 month, because we all can get lucky, but how can you sustain this? For me, for example, I'm in year 7 doing this. You're not doing this 7 years later if you're not successful. Okay? So I'm going to be giving you some of those tips coming up as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.